You start your day hearing wild news. Jupiter has just swallowed Saturn. And it doesn't stop there. Jupiter is on its way to swallow every planet in the solar system. Jupiter has swallowed a planet before. Around 4.5 billion years ago, a protoplanet slammed into the young Jupiter. The protoplanet was 10 times Earth's mass, made of rocky and icy material. Jupiter's core broke apart, and denser material mixed with hydrogen and helium. A few billion years later, the heavy material settled back into the dense core that we see today. Swallowing a single planet is one thing, but could Jupiter eat up all 7? In this scenario, you're going to see the planets get swallowed from largest to smallest, although we're saving Earth for last. But before we start plunging our solar system into chaos, let me tell you about chaos in a non-hypothetical world. The internet. I search it a lot. I know that companies are collecting and storing my personal data, but it seems impossible to figure out where my data is and how I can erase it. Luckily, there's mine, a smart data assistant that helps you discover and control where your data is stored. You decide where you want to keep your data and where you don't. So let's check it out. Alright, sign in. Right off the bat, it's showing me that some 52 companies have my personal data. That's crazy. Let's have a look at which ones. Okay, some of those make sense. Wow, Wave still stores my data. I don't use them anymore. I can click See More to find out what type of data they're storing. Okay, let's reclaim my data from them. Mine will send reclaim requests directly from my inbox instead of using third parties. And just like that, I've minimized my risk and online exposure. Mine makes it easier for me to exercise my right to be forgotten. Check it out. It's free right now, but it won't be free forever. Find your link in the description below and make your online presence safer. And now that I feel in control of my personal data, let's get back to our chaotic scene in space. Jupiter's first victim would be Saturn. From Earth, you could see these gas giants as 2 bright stars. And if you were to look up at the night sky as Jupiter swallows Saturn, all you'd see is Jupiter getting super bright. But if you were closer to the action, you'd see complete chaos. Jupiter is only 3 times heavier than Saturn, so it would be swallowing a planet that's almost its size. First, their moons would collide, creating massive amounts of debris. Some moon remnants would rain down on Jupiter, and some of the debris would float in space. As Jupiter was crashing into Saturn, Jupiter's surface temperature would become hotter than the Sun's outer layer. Whatever remained of Saturn would mix in with Jupiter's atmosphere. They would become one. Swallowing Saturn would increase Jupiter's mass and gravity by 30%. Jupiter would also sport prominent new rings from the shattered moons. Next, it would envelop the 2 ice giants, Uranus and Neptune. The 27 moons of Uranus would collide with the rings of Jupiter, adding to the floating debris. Uranus has an icy core made of water, methane, and ammonia, but Neptune's inner core is rocky. Regardless, both cores would melt as the planets crashed into Jupiter. Now Jupiter would be almost 40% heavier, and it would head toward its first rocky planetary snacks. The rocky planets, Venus and Mars, wouldn't even make it to Jupiter's core. They'd burn up in Jupiter's atmosphere as if they were mere asteroids. Then we'd see our last planetary neighbor disappear inside this bulked-up Jupiter. Mercury is even smaller than Jupiter's largest moon, Ganymede, so it would get ripped apart by Jupiter's rings, adding to the speedy debris. Now only Earth and Jupiter would be left, and Earth would be in big trouble. But how would Jupiter go about swallowing our planet? Even in its normal state, without swallowing 6 planets, Jupiter's gravitational force affects Earth. Every 405,000 years, the pull of Jupiter and Venus makes Earth's orbit wobble. It causes hotter summers, colder winters, and more rainfall in the tropics. And now, Jupiter's gravitational pull would be over 40% stronger. But Jupiter's pull would still be no match for the Sun's gravitational force. So Jupiter would have to come for Earth just like it swallowed all the other planets in our solar system. Jupiter doesn't have a hard surface like the rocky planets. You could say Jupiter is a big, dense ball of gas. Its surface is defined as the point where its atmospheric pressure is equal to Earth's. No, just like the rest of the planets, Earth and all life on it would be toast. First, we'd be bombarded by asteroids while passing through Jupiter's rings. I doubt anyone would survive this. But if they did, now what would happen if Jupiter continued to grow? Well, even if Jupiter increased its mass by 400%, it would stay about the same size. But the extra mass would make Jupiter so dense that it would start pulling in on itself. It would get smaller instead of larger. And if Jupiter were to increase its mass by 70,000%, It could trigger a fusion reaction and light up like a star. Can you imagine what it would be like to have not one but two stars in the solar system? Well, as always, in conclusion, imagine an amazing scenario in which Jupiter consumes every planet in the solar system. This would be a catastrophic event that would completely change our understanding of the universe. As the remaining planets disappear into Jupiter's giant atmosphere, its mass and gravitational pull become incredibly large. This creates new scenarios and dynamic changes throughout the solar system. The Sun, devoid of planets, may change its structure and luminosity. Meteorites and asteroids that were previously attracted to the planet will now vaporize in Jupiter's atmosphere, causing magnificent spectacles. Instead of a cold and dark region of interplanetary space, a lush and vibrant giant planet will appear. Perhaps it will also open up new worldviews for humanity. Observations and research will focus on Jupiter, studying its atmosphere, structure, and habitability. Perhaps in the future we can get inside this giant planet and unlock its secrets. As for the rest of the galactic civilizations, such a phenomenon as planetary engulfment will upset the usual balance in the solar system and may attract their attention. It could be a reason to make new contacts or an attractive object of study. After all, we can only guess what would happen if Jupiter were to swallow every planet in the solar system. But there is no doubt that it would be an incredibly exciting and complex event, expanding our understanding of the cosmos and our role in it.